Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. It's a very serious topic going to cover, and that's the Buddha taught about preventing people, particularly in the after dying condition, from falling into hell realms. But also popularizing Buddhism, particularly in the West, like America. That this is sort of like not commonly taught. And then people go for trips to Asia and they find the temple walls with many paintings of hell and so on like this. So I thought just introduce a few definitions from Buddhism of the hell realms, and explain a little bit about how the Buddha taught. There's imagery from Buddhist sites depicting people who fall into hells. Hells, very important to understand, are not eternal, differently in Buddhism. Periods are spent in hell on account of having committed crimes against humanity in one way. So, for example, murder or butchery of innocent people, for example, or genocide, or any form, even and killing animals, for example. So durations of time according to the actions done. And it is meant to alarm people enough into changing their conduct as well. So let's look at the name given for hell. One of them, Avīci, Niraya, hell. This is one of the 8 great purgatories, the Niraya, given in the Jataka here. It is 10,000 leagues in extent and forms part of a universe, Chakavala, so a universe system, like a wheel system. The Melinda question, King Melinda's questions, however, places it outside the sphere of the earth, and talks about how long a boulder falling from there would take to reach the earth in terms of months. Spence Hardy in Manila Buddhism mentions a tradition which says that Avīci is 700 miles directly under the Bodhi tree at Gaya. So then it's like going into the centre of the earth, into the magma of the earth. In later books, for example, the Dhammapada commentary, it is represented as being under the earth, for we are told that the earth opened wide to allow the flames of Avīci to escape and to drag down sinners into its bowels. This is in a Dhammapada commentary. It seems to have been specially designed for those who had committed very grievous crimes, among whom are 1. Devadatta, the Buddha's cousin, Chunda, the pork butcher. We'll have a look at his story. Ananda, one of the Anandas, not the Buddha's cousin, who raped his cousin, the nun Teri Upalavana. She was alone in returning home to a cottage in the woods, and he was hid under the bed and then raped her. The ascetic Jambuka, who in a previous birth had insulted an arahant. The murderer of the Pacceka Buddha, Sunyata. A Pacceka Buddha is a private Buddha who stays alone, never teaching, but someone murdered him. Sivali, who in a former birth had blockaded a city for 7 years, and the people starved inside. Super Buddha, who insulted the Buddha. Super Buddha is the father of Devadatta, and drunk one morning stood in his way and blocked his way as he came with all the monks on arms round. And the Buddha turned back and made a prediction that in 7 days the earth would open up and he would fall directly down through the earth into the hell realm, which happened. Malika, because of her misbehaviour with the dog followed into a bathroom and tried to have sex with her, but she sort of like playfully sort of played along. But the king observed through a window what was going on and then confronted her with it, and she lied about it to her husband. But she was only there for 7 days, and then she was reborn in a heavenly realm. Kincha Manavika, because she falsely accused the Buddha. So this is the one who pretended she was pregnant and tried to get the Buddha in trouble and fleeing from the temple as she was fleeing down the street. And the Avīci opened up and she fell straight through and the earth closed up around her. And Kapila, brother of Sodana, for reviling pious monks. So this is the story of the butcher there, Chunda the pork butcher. It's not the one who gave the Buddha his last meal, this is something else. The story of Chunda Sukarika. This is verse 15 of the Dhammapada. While residing at the Veluvana monastery in Rajagaha, the Buddha uttered verse 15 of the Dhammapada with reference to Chunda, the pork butcher. Once, in a village not far away from the Veluvana monastery, there lived a very cruel and hard-hearted pork butcher by the name of Chunda. Chunda was a pork butcher for over 55 years. All this time he had not done a single meritorious deed. Before he died, he was in such great pain and agony that he was grunting and squealing and kept on moving about on his hands and knees like a pig for 7 whole days. In fact, even before he died, he was suffering as if he were in Niraya. Note that. Niraya or Naraka, a place of continuous torment, sometimes compared with hell, but it is different from hell because suffering in Niraya is not everlasting like suffering in hell. Avīci Niraya is the most fearful of all Nirayas. I don't know why it's talking about everlastingness there. Sorry, I hadn't noticed that. None of them are everlasting. Thus the evildoer must always suffer for the evil deeds done by him. He suffers in this world as well as in the next. In this connection, the Buddha spoke in verses follows. 15. Here he grieves, hereafter he grieves. The evildoer grieves in both existences. He grieves and he suffers anguish when he sees the depravity of his own deeds. When it's said that when they go into the hell realm, they're forced to put up and they see all the big screen of the actions that cause them to be in the hell. They're forced to observe them again and again and again and again, and then they go to a place of suffering, these punishment places. Very graphic depictions. This one here is shown in another pictures where people who've done adultery get forced to climb up thorny trees, chased by dogs. According to Buddhaghosa, Avīci is often called Mahaniraya. Descriptions of it are to be found in several places in the 4 Nikayas. It is a quadrangular space, 100 leagues each way, 4-doored, walled all around, and above with steel, and with floor of incandescent molten steel. The Dhammapada commentary gives a description of the tortures that await the entrant to Avīci. When, for instance, Devadatta entered there, his body became 100 leagues in height. His head, as far as the outer ear, entered into an iron skull. His feet sank up to the ankles in iron. An iron stake, as thick as the trunk of a palmyra tree, came from the west wall, pierced the small of his back, and penetrating his breast entered the east wall. Other similar stakes came from the south and from the north and transfixed him. The fire of Avīci is so powerful that it destroys the eyes of anyone looking at it from a distance of 100 leagues. It would destroy in a moment a rock as large as a gabled house. Yet beings born there remain undestroyed, as though reposing in their mother's womb. Beings born in Avīci suffer for periods of varying lengths. Thus Malika, Pasanali's queen, remained only for 7 days, while Devadatta is destined to pass there 100,000 kappas. The Sutta Nipata gives the names of various specified periods of suffering which, according to Buddhaghosa, are to be spent in Avīci. They are Abuddha, Nirabuddha, Ababa, Ahaha, Atata, Kumuda, Sogandika, Upalaka, Pundarika, and Paduma. Paduma is the longest one, means lotus. Taken in a geometrical progression of 20, for example, 20 Abuddhas equals 1 Nirabuddha. Another mode of suffering in Avīci is described in Sarajita. It is noteworthy that we don't need to cover that. Some more images. In the Digga passage mentioned above, the reference to Avīci is in connection with the tremendous growth of population which will occur in Jambudvipa in a future age. Houses will be so close that a cockerel could fly from any one to the next, and one would think it Avīci. Rhys Davies suggests that the word, which he translated as waveless deep, might have been originally used to denote density of population. Buddhaghosa explains it as Nirantapurita, perhaps in the sense that it is filled with fire. In Visuddhimagga, the word appears to be a synonym for jars, disintegrated broken pots, used in connection with disintegration of earth, water, mountains, sun and moon. Often referred to as the lowest point in the universe, and the chief suffering endured there is that of humans. And these are adultery punishments, being pecked by crows, chased by dogs, and speared while climbing up thorny trees. Ababa, the first one mentioned in that list there, Ababa Niraya, a name not given to a special location, a purgatory, but to a period of time in Avīci. One term of Ababa is equal to 400 of Abuddha, and Abuddha being reckoned as the time taken to remove 20 koslankaris equal to a cartload of tila seeds, taking one seed at the end of each century. So at the end of 100 years, just one seed taken. How long did that take to empty while they stay in that period of time? So when you see images of people who have killed other people in concentration camps, or tortured or murdered children and women, innocent people, and this is the consequence when they get reborn afterwards. They die feeling smug, thinking that they got away with it, or so on. So these are the consequences that come to people who cause misery, deep misery to others, and the returning sensations that they experience. And they are born fully formed, and then countlessly are broken down repeatedly. And in contrast, the cool of the Buddha, the stability, sanctuary of the Buddha, calm, as we see. Yeah, so important for the monk. The monk's duties are to steer people away from falling in consequences like that through encouragement of the morality. So I encourage you to keep the 5 precepts and avoid and practice meditation, therefore preventing us from falling into the lower realms of loss and